Good evening.
Good evening.
Two things. I am very poorly. I have been off work today and therefore have watched Doctor Who, and that's made me happy. Second thing, I've had an remarkable uptick of followers to this channel recently. I suspect I know who you all are. Hello, all of you. I'll be doing something particularly with you in mind in the upcoming days. Anyway, Planet of the Ood. It's been a long time since I've seen this Doctor Who story, and I seem to recall feeling a little bit let down by it the last time round. What a fool I was. See, I think a very good comparison in fact, now let's be honest, Tap Wood in here says that a good comparison to this is Horror Fang Rock. I would disagree. I think a very good comparison to this story is actually Caves of Androzani. And the reason for that is this. Caves of Androzani is a notable Doctor Who story because the Doctor has bugger all to do with the plot in Caves of Androzani. Aside from the fact he just gets bumped around and tries to get away, okay? It's actually very refreshing at that point in Doctor Who's history. And to be honest, I would say that this is very similar. If you think about the overall things that happen in Planet of the Ood, the Doctor doesn't really have much of an impact on things at all. His arrival doesn't actually have any bearing on the circumstances, apart from his own circumstances and Donna, up until the point at the end where he flips a switch and lets the brain talk to the rest of the Ood. So therefore, I seem to recall when I watched it the first time round that I felt a little bit disappointed that the Doctor seemed a little bit ineffectual in this story. What a fool I was, because this story is not about the Doctor getting involved at all. This story is all about Donna Noble being on her first alien planet and having to be confronted with the sorts of moral dilemmas that the Doctor gets presented with. It's, in that regard, an extension of Fires of Pompeii, with the whole big debate about whether you can get involved and that kind of thing. But here we get a not particularly, in fact not at all, subtly drawn message about slavery and exploitation. And we've got the Ood at the heart of that. Now, to us now, the Ood are a fairly well-established part of Doctor Who. But up until this point, there had been in one story. And I was going to say I want an Ood for Christmas, but I don't, because that's captivity. I want Ood to be free at Christmas, and they can come round and enjoy Christmas and have non-turkey, because we're vegetarian. But the Ood in this are just so characterful. They're just so charming and lovely. And the thing is that even when they get the red eye and go feral, you can't help but just feel sorry for them.
Rabid.
Rabid, yes. Because they're absolutely just sweet and charming creatures who are completely victims of circumstance. And even when they're holding their own brains in their hand, which, let's be perfectly honest, is a singularly ridiculous idea, you just feel the greatest outpouring of affection for them because they're just so lovely. And that bit where Donna says they have to trust everybody because they hold their own brains, what a fantastically beautiful little thing. But says Libby,
vomiting up your own brain at the end.
Okay.
Actually made me giggle.
Okay. So, yeah, this is a fairly bleak episode in so many ways. I mean, the imagery is very bleak. The resolution's great. But the comparison with Horror of Fang Rock works when you recognise that all of the major human characters die. The thing is, I'm bloody delighted they die because they're all bloody horrible. Like, genuinely. Oh, there's an awful lot of Ood die. And the whole point of the story would suggest that we have to feel, in the same way that the Doctor says at the start, I let the Ood die, I owe them one. There's still a lot of Ood that die in this story. And that's it is a very, very unpleasant thing. Yes, you can explain that away by talking them as some sort of gestalt entity, but it doesn't really cut the mustard when we have to look at this story and value everybody's life in it. And therefore, you do feel a bit weird about the fact you get a general visceral thrill and all of the nasty, nasty people get killed, with the exception of Tim McHenry? Can't remember his name. But when he turns into an Ood, it is a deeply unpleasant moment. But anyway, there we go. The key thing about this story, though, is apart from, this remarkable affection we have for these lovely Ood, who are just lovely, and you want to give them a great big cuddle, tentacles and all. And, of course, the nod to the Censorites. Tip my hat to the Censor. I genuinely, last night, felt so poorly. I thought, I'm going to watch some William Hartnell to cheer me up, but I didn't. The performance of Catherine Tate in this story is utterly brilliant. The fact that she doesn't take any nonsense from the Donna, I should say, doesn't take any nonsense from the Doctor and absolutely stands up to everything he says, doesn't go along with any of his nonsense, is what's making this partnership work so brilliantly. But then moments like the sort of complicated moral standpoint of the programme where the Doctor sort of points out that although Donna getting upset about the Oods being slaves, but where do you think your clothes come from? And she hits back at him because right here and right now, that's not the argument she needs. That's really human. That's really, really good.
He's been a dickhead.
Who is the Doctor?
Yeah.
And she stands up to him, fair play. I mean, he's right, but now's not the time. But the other bit when she hears the song, and she asks for it to stop. Oh my goodness, I'm genuinely feeling it now. Admittedly, I'm very poorly. But I am feeling that now because that's a truly lovely, lovely, beautiful moment. And it's absolutely great. Yes, this is a peculiarly bleak episode in many ways. And yes, you know, Winnie felt it. Do you think Winnie enjoyed it? You don't think Winnie enjoyed it? Libby doesn't think that Winnie enjoyed it. And Humphrey didn't enjoy it much, did he? He actually sort of like recoiled a little bit.
The idea of seeing suffering.
Yeah, and you do see suffering in this story.
You do. It made me.
Yeah, and it's. But then again, Doctor Who, I think, has a moral. What's the moral imperative? That's a truth, an essential truth, isn't it? A moral imperative. Oh, we'll have to look that. Can you fact check me, please, quick?
My phone says.
It
literally is.
Yeah, I know. I believe. I'm gonna have to look that up in a minute.
I know what to think about, so.
That's fine, you're going to have to pay. But here's my point here. I think Doctor Who can afford to do this now and again, and I think that Donna Noble's a fantastic person to throw into the mix in this. And I just think there is a real value to a story like this, even though the message slavery is bad is a little bit obvious. Yeah, but just because it's obvious doesn't mean it's not worth saying. Doesn't mean it's not worth making you feel uncomfortable for 45 minutes just to put your own life in perspective. If we went through life every day just watching things that were cosy and nice, then I don't think...
Happy.
No, we wouldn't be quite happy because you've got to be challenged now and again. And that, you know, there are moments in this that do force you to go, oh, right, okay. And that's a healthy thing. And that's a valuable thing. I really enjoyed this. Admittedly, I was in a state, I could have watched bloody Fear Her tonight. I could have watched Claws of Axos tonight, and it would make me happy, because that's how rubbish I feel right now. But I didn't. I watched Planet of the Ood, and Planet of the Ood was absolutely brilliant.
It was good.
It was good.